Okay, so I'm going to go quickly through the initial stages because otherwise it gets really long. So I'm going to fast track through that, and then we get to the six-sided room. Okay, and we're going to spend a bit more time in that room in our meditation. So sitting comfortably, choosing your meditation seat, and oh, I've got someone at the gate. Hold on. Yes, Tenzin, Reynolds here. Sorry, someone's coming to my cousin Reynolds here. I think they'll come here. Yeah, and you must take Caleb's present. Okay,
Where is it?
it's here. Okay, please don't lose that charger thingy. All right, just doing some organization. Ten, just leave the door open. Reynolds just wants to come in and say hi. Sorry, I've got a family member that's just arrived, and he's just parking. Okay, let's get into it. Right, let's take a nice slow deep breath in through the nose and breathe it out the mouth. So we come out of the dark forest of being lost, the forest of samsara. There's a beautiful grassy meadow, and as we walk down the meadow, we see our teacher down by a river, and there's this sort of Viking boat, and we get into the boat and we go across the river, and we get to the other side, and there's stairs that go up to a triangular shaped building, and we open the doors, and as we walk in, immediately to the left we see a coffin, and then the far left corner of the triangle is a fire pit with a small fire burning, and to the right in the corner is a red robe draped across the couch. We walk up to the coffin, we look down, and we see that it is us lying there. And there's some, on the right side of the corpse, there's some dead bugs, dead insects, spiders, scorpions, centipedes, potato bugs, scary stuff. And then on the robe are gemstones, rubies, sapphires, and the bugs are our bad karma, and we scoop up the dead bugs and we throw them onto the fire, and we burn away all our negative deeds, and then we scoop up the gemstones and we walk to the cloak that's draped on the couch, and they magically jump onto the robe, and we put this robe around us, and this robe or this cloak represents our taking refuge, and our introduction to the Dharma. So then we follow our teacher, we open a door, we go into a corridor, and there's windows on either side of the corridor, and we see images of overwhelming suffering of samsara, wars, famine, etc. As we walk down that corridor, we see the world and all the sorts of sufferings, the three sufferings, the suffering, the suffering of change, and all pervasive suffering. And then we come to the end of the corridor. We open another midnight blue door to the left, and yes, we follow our teacher. And then we get into a mirror room, and the walls are all mirrors. And it's a 12-sided room, and we look into the reflection, and it fades off to infinity. And this symbolizes that everything we do, every move we make, is echoed into the past, and well, from the past into the present and into the future. That is our understanding of karma. We then go down into a sunken floor, and we see these porcelain figurines standing on stands, and we walk around them carefully so we don't break them. And these represent our vows that we try not to break. these beautiful statues. And because keeping our vows is really one of the ways to get out of samsara. We look back at the room, we notice the refuge commitments and the 10 non-virtues painted in bright gold lettering, and they're scrolling across the black wall formed between the sunken floor and the main floor of the room. We climb up 2 stairs to a brilliant red door, and it opens to the left into the next room. And after the mirror room, this room is lit dimly, but we can see we're in a 6-sided room made of exquisite teak paneling. You look down and you see glowing gold arrows on the floor pointing its way to the middle of the room. You follow them carefully. You see there's an incense holder in the middle of the room with a lighter hanging off it. And it is just at the right height for you to reach up and get the lighter and light the incense. And you see how amazing it would be to reach your enlightenment, but everybody else is suffering, right? And that is strange. How can we be eternally blissful if the world is still suffering? Magically, the arrows on the 6-sided room on the floor reverse direction and guide us back to the entrance. And there you are, you turn around and you watch the incense smoke start to fill the room, not heavily, but just enough to have a fragrant scent. And this represents our feeling that the greater way, the Mahayana way, is a wish at this stage until we see emptiness directly. And as you see the smoke filling the room, going to every nook and cranny, we feel that the greater way, which is to be of benefit to all beings, we decide to take the Bodhisattva vows, which is basically the wish, I will attain enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. And as we make this vow, there's the refuge prayer, which basically says, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha until I attain enlightenment for the sake of all beings. We turn to our left and again face the door. There's a niche in the wall to the left of the door, and it contains 4 small packages of different sizes. We pick up the smallest one and we open it, and we see money, $100, $100 bill, which represents the perfection of giving, material things. Material things are not bad, but perhaps easiest to give, and in the case of money, easily spent and gone. We open the next largest package, and it is a deed to a house. This represents physical protection, and this represents the perfection of giving, protection from fear of not having a safe place to sleep, safe food to eat, and safe water to drink. We open the third box, which is slightly larger. It's a Valentine and a box of medicine. And we realize these represent the perfection of giving love, making someone happy. The Valentine, the perfection of giving compassion, the medicine, and taking away someone's suffering. You reflect that these first 3 gifts are wonderful in many, many ways, but only temporarily. And there's one box left, and we open it, and it's a copy of the Dharma, the Buddha's teachings. We take this out and realize that this is the real true protection. And this is the perfection of giving the teachings, the Dharma, which is the highest gift of all. We close the boxes and then put them back into the niche. We then step back from the wall and turn to our left and cross to the second wall. As you start to walk to the second wall, you notice that the lights get a bit brighter. And this represents your commitment to the perfection of giving. That's the first perfection. You walk across to the second wall, which has a niche with a beautiful bonsai tree. Unlike most bonsai trees, which are juniper or cypress, this is a weeping willow. Its roots are our vows, our freedom vows. The trunk are our bodhisattva vows, and the branches are our tantric vows. The weeping willow, with its leaves and branches coming down to cover the roots, which are exposed on a gnarly rock, represents the fact that the tantric vows encompass all of your vows. Without the roots, the trunk and the leaves won't grow. Without the trunk and the roots, the leaves cannot get sustenance. We turn to our left, and as we walk away from the wall, the lights get a bit brighter, and this represents our commitment to the perfection of morality, keeping our promises, our vows. You walk to the third wall, which is a niche that is 6 feet tall and 6 feet wide. And you walk through an opening, and magically you are situated near a small pond. And there's a log big enough to sit just out of the water. And you sit down on the log. You remember a teaching by Master Shantideva about not getting angry, which he says, act like a bump on a log. When you think of this, the pond instantly becomes mirror smooth. And you realize you can calm your mind and get it ready for meditation because you're not responding ignorantly. You get up, you walk past the pond, out of the niche, and as you start walking to wall number 4, the lights get slightly brighter, representing your commitment to the perfection of not getting angry. You could also call it the perfection of patience. In the niche, in the 4th wall, you find a video of a playground with lots of children playing. They are laughing, that unique and joyous laugh of the young, innocent, carefree child. You realize the task of reaching enlightenment in this very life is something you can approach and need to approach with joy. Joyous efforts, having fun, doing your giving, moral discipline, and not getting angry. You step back from the wall. As you turn to your left and as you walk to wall number 5, the light gets brighter again. You've committed to the perfection of joyous effort. On the 5th wall, there's a niche at a chest height. Inside is a stand with a microscope, and on the microscope is a tag that says, use me at least 1 hour a day. You turn the tag over. It says, work gradually towards the 1 hour. If you add a minute a week, you will be there in a year. You pick up the microscope and walk to the final wall, which is a niche and a brilliant red door. Once again, the room light increases slightly, representing your commitment to the perfection of concentration. In the niche to the left of the door is a velvet pedestal holding a beautiful diamond, brilliantly cut. You put down the microscope carefully, put the diamond on the microscope stage, and focus the microscope on the diamond. This represents the direct perception of emptiness. You leave the microscope in place and go back to the brilliant red door. You turn back and look back into the hexagonal room. You look back and you see above the room a vaulted ceiling with the Bodhisattva vows in gold lettering in the crown molding, pulsating to draw your attention and remind you to keep your vows. On the rest of the ceiling, also in gold letters, are the secondary vows of Bodhisattvas. You reflect again how the smoke represents the bodhicitta, which is the wish to attain enlightenment, and that permeates your life. We will end our practice there, taking in a nice slow deep breath in through the nose and breathe it out the mouth. Okie dokie, we can open our eyes. I want to just pull up the diagram of what we've been talking about and where we've been going. So if you can see my screen, we've entered here from the river. There's the triangular room. We went through the corridor with the windows on either side, and we see the suffering of the universe. We move into the mirror room, which is 12-sided and reflecting. We go down into the couple of steps where statues are on their stands. We're careful not to knock them over. We then open the door and we move into the hexagonal room, the 6-sided room, and that's where we are now. Okay. And the 6 sides represent the 6 perfections. The perfection of giving. Okay, and then remember there's 4 gifts there, the different types of giving. Then there's the perfection of morality, where we sit by the bonsai and we contemplate the roots, the trunk, and the leaves, which are different types of vows in that perfection of morality. And then we sit next to a pond, which is the perfection of patience, not getting angry, and the water is calm with a log, with a bump in the log. That is the perfection of patience. Then there's the perfection of joy, which is where we hear the children laughing or we see them playing. Then there's the perfection of concentration, which is the microscope, which says use me at least 1 hour a day. And then we take the diamond, which is sitting in a beautiful enclosure. We take it out and we put it under the microscope, and we use the microscope to look at the diamond. So that's the analogy of using meditation on emptiness, which is, and emptiness is represented by the diamond. Okay. And I've been thinking all week, Andrea, about, you said you had questions last week about karma. Do you wanna bring that up today?
I can. I think what I'm probably struggling with is, like I know you speak about it often, but I guess when suffering becomes something that kind of is closer to home, maybe not personally, but obviously within people that I know, like it's not somebody, whoever, um, like it's so difficult to deal with. So as like one of my really good friends, I'm gonna visit her in hospital today. She's got
Okay.
cancer,
Oh, so,
and like it often makes me think about it, because I'm like, she's such an amazing person, um, and I'm not saying, like, I realize, obviously, I guess things that have happened in the past life possibly is why she's in the current situation. But it's just so difficult to wrap my head around, because, like, I don't know, like, and like it's hard to, like, how does she get out of that, outside of obviously what the doctors are doing, what medicine's doing, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that's probably what I'm really grappling with.
yeah, it's a tough one to grapple with. Um, I know that. Hi, Kerry. How's it going? Did you rescue the doggy?
Yeah, did.
Okay, well
Rolled
done.
my eyes out when I left behind, but yeah, at least she's
Oh,
safe. Yeah.
oh, well, well done. See, there's some amazing karma going on there today.
Yeah, thanks, Kerry.
Um, yeah, I mean, so there's either three ways that, things can exist, as we've said, that God's causing it, or it's just bad luck, or it's karmic. Now, the Buddha said that most of our karmas that we experience come from our past life, our previous life. So most of what you go through in this life is not so much what you did in this life. Yes, there are some karmas that are powerful, and that's why we can plant some very powerful karmas in this life that will ripen in this life. But the majority of our karmas are coming from Joe Blogs who lived previously. So I've got to either thank Joe or moan at Joe who was before me for what I'm going through right now, So, and some of these karmas, they say when the causes and conditions come together, that's when the karma ripens. So maybe it could be a karma from 2 or 3 lives ago, but now all of a sudden the causes and conditions have come together for that karma to ripen. And the mind stream is constantly changing. So I'll give you an example. Like my friend Grant Nash is a very big vegan advocate, strictly vegan. But when he was younger, he was eating steak and ribs and loving burgers and like smashing meats every day. And then he changed, right? He changed, which is a big change. I mean, that's your diet.
Mm.
So so we may have been really different in our past life. We may have been really different. Like your friend is a beautiful, wonderful person in this life, but who knows what was going on in a previous life, and she may have been doing things that were hurting her body or hurting somebody else's body. Okay, she doesn't know that, we don't know that, but we've all hurt people physically. And in fact, in so many countless lives, we have murdered people, we have killed people, we've been, we've done everything. We've saved people, we've been kind to people. They say every being that you encounter has at some stage been your mother in the countless realms of existence. Every single being has at some stage been your mom. But yeah, so there's just, it's very difficult to say, why do bad things happen to good people? And then I don't buy God is punishing or God is testing thing. I find that to be sort of just illogical. Why would a loving father do that to his children, as a test? Doesn't make sense to me, but I do think that things around us, grow from seeds. We grow from seeds, plants, everything that's living is growing from a seed. And why should our experiences be any different to that? I don't know. Does that help in any way?
It does a bit, thanks. I think, yeah, like I think it's also around how, I guess, to help her to navigate it. And I suppose the only way really is just to be there.
Yeah.
Just to love her and to just be, sort of non-judgmental and obviously just positive and try and navigate through what she's currently going through. I mean, there's nothing else, I guess, that can be done.
Yeah, I wouldn't go sort of Dharma preaching about karma to her. It might upset her.
No, totally not. I mean, it's,
what you can do is encourage her to, one of the most powerful things we can do to heal any illness is to do a Tonglen on somebody else that is also suffering from a similar illness,
right.
So maybe there's a friend in her life that's going through some physical, maybe you could say, if we believe that the seeds we sow, we reap, let's sow some seeds of healing by, doing a Tonglen or wishing somebody else to be free of their illness. And that will have a direct impact on our own, our own healing. So, yeah, and that might be a bit of a stretch for her too. So you've got to just, test the water, and maybe introduce it in a skillful way. I don't know if it is possible, but maybe just if that's too difficult, then just get her to radiate loving kindness and healing to the whole world. Just focus on radiating healing throughout her body, and then extending that to everybody else, maybe that's in the hospital, and you could do a little meditation with her like that. So she's not like actively taking on the pain of somebody else, because that's quite an important thing in terms of Tonglen, because that's what you're doing, and if she's feeling weak and vulnerable, the last thing you want to think about is taking on somebody else's darkness, someone else's pain, and destroying it. That's actually, Tonglen is a very advanced practice, and a lot of people are scared of it, because of that. But that's the thing, we're scared because we don't want the self to be harmed. But it's actually ironic, because it is that protection of self that causes our suffering and our illness. So if we destroy that self, or we become that bodhisattva, that spiritual warrior, then we get liberated quicker and faster. So I don't know if anybody else has any comments or suggestions around this issue that Andrea is facing with her friend. Antoinette?
Yeah, I don't want to give you any advice, Andrea, but what I do want to say is that obviously when our little world, what I witness in myself is when my little world is perfect, everything seems okay. But when something very close to me happens to someone that I love dearly, it shakes my world. So it's easy for me to work with people who come in from, external people who come in and they've got sorrows and they're ill and it's much, much easier. But I think what happens when we are faced with someone so close to us is that it actually shakes our own roots of our own mortality and our own fears. And it actually awakens our own stuff because our world it's like a mirror almost. That shows us that it couldn't happen to anybody. She didn't deserve it. So why is this happening? And it activates fear, probably, that it could happen to us as well. And so the Tonglen, what I've realized with Tonglen is Mark, it's a little bit like Stefan said on Thursday night. It's difficult until it was difficult until it was not difficult anymore. I think that's what he said. It was difficult until it became easy. So that technique it's difficult to fathom it. Like, how can you breathe in that dark smoke from someone else? Because it makes us fearful about our own stuff and about, what is causing this cancer? What is causing this, my will to plummet? But actually, if you realize that you're just the kind of the conduit, it's hard to separate yourself when it's so close. So maybe almost like what Mark said is, and you maybe not even have to do it with her, but just do Tonglen on other people who are not so close to you. Like when you maybe walk into the hospital, just do Tonglen with the hospital. And she's in the hospital anyway. So she's part of the whole I think the thing is what's happening with the earth at the moment, and it's just from things that I've picked up, is that we are obviously collective consciousness that is moving through. And cancer is just the hugest killer. And it's the consciousness of the earth that's, it's like I think what Mark is trying to say sometimes or not trying to say, but I'm trying to understand is that the karma of the consciousness. And it's not always, I think, so personal. We are part of the consciousness of the earth and we're all in it together. And we're all going to die. We all have the skeleton that sits inside the body. I became so aware of it last night. And, this is the vehicle. And at some stage, the vehicle is going to pass over. And, it's almost just as unfair as, when you're in a car accident or when you get shot or when the vehicle is going to go.
Yeah.
I don't think death is ever fair. Because it brings up stuff for us who stay behind. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is I'm not trying to give you advice, but I really, really feel you because it's so, 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 so hard when someone so close to you is going through it.
Yeah.
And I'm sending you a lot of love around that.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, and I wish for her, obviously, a very gentle ride through it. We don't even know. She might recover. But for you, I wish also, gentleness around the processing that you're going through. And everybody else is touched by it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tonglen to you as well.
Thanks, Antoinette.
Yeah, I think Tonglen is a very big practice, Andrea, for this. Thanks, Antoinette. Very beautifully put. Very profound. The collective consciousness, the collective karma. It is also our karma to see our friends suffer. and, you know, and be affected by it. You know, I often think, like the way I feel right now, I really don't sort of mind to die at all. It's a weird thing. Like I have no, like I, how can I put it? I'm not like suicidal or anything, but I just feel that if I was given a diagnosis and I was going to die, I'd be like, okay, fine, I'm ready to go. And I didn't feel this, say, like 2 years ago. I was actually intensely afraid of dying. I was paranoid of dying. And then all of a sudden, after my divorce, I was like, I don't care if I die. And then I was like, why did I shift so much from being terrified of dying to doesn't matter to me anymore, you know? In fact, I'd embrace it, and I'd think, okay, what's the next journey? You know, what's the next chapter? But the change happened because I was in a very worldly model of the world. You know, my wife needed me. I had to earn money. I knew it was going to be hard if I was to die on her and my son. And, you know, I just felt like there was a lot of responsibility as a provider. And that was the thing I was scared about dying. It wasn't so much that I was going to lose myself. It was just that people needed me. And now I feel everything, they don't need me. And yes, my son needs me, sure. But if I was to die, he'd be fine. You know, he would carry on with his life. Yes, he would be upset, I'm sure. But his brain is wired differently. You know what I mean? Like he's on the spectrum. So he feels, yeah, he does. But he you know, I know he would grieve. I know he'd miss me. But you know, I could literally just die and it would be okay. So it's all of these attachments, our children, our role that we play, and then for me the role got taken away, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. How my attitude towards dying or death has changed. But you know, for if I was to get cancer, if I was dying, would I feel what I'm feeling now? That's the question. You know, if I was really faced with it, would I still feel the same? I don't know. That's the thing. Yeah. I think there's this thing with karma where we got to trust our karma. You know, it all might seem completely crazy, right? But we got to trust that we've planted the right seeds and that those seeds will grow, they will come to fruition, and it's just a matter of time. And all we can do, I mean, the only way that you can help your friend, Andrea, is to work on your karma, because to see her sick is your projection. You know, to see suffering in this world is a projection, is our projection, and it's created by karma, according to the Dharma. Does that make sense? Antoinette?
We can't hear you, Andrea.
Oh, you're on
Your
mute.
microphone is off.
Sorry.
Thanks very much. That does help. Yeah, it's a lot of food for thought. And I think about the theory of attachment a lot. I think about, you know, like I think I'm in a similar spot as you, Mark. Like I'm not really afraid of dying myself, but I do think that how the world's put together, you know, attachment kind of forms part of that. And not that I am attached, but I think it's I'm not really attached to stuff, but I guess when it comes to people, it becomes more difficult, right? Like
Yeah,
as you say, people who are important in your life.
for sure.
Yeah, it does. For me, it does become more difficult. Like yeah, it's just an interesting thing to think about, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's very hard. If my son got sick and died, I would be devastated. I'd be absolutely gutted. Um, I think there was a Tibetan master who was a master teacher in Karma, and his son died, and he locked himself in his room and cried for weeks. And his disciples, his students, said, "But I thought you said everything is an illusion, and that we got to give up attachment. And why are you so sad? And why are you so upset?" And he said, "Yes, everything is an illusion, but this is the most painful illusion, you know." So it doesn't mean it's not going to hurt if we contemplate karma or illusory existence. It still feels very real, and it is very real. And it's like when we go to the movies and we really watching the movie and we feel our heart starts racing, or we cry because it's sad, and it's just a screen with a light being projected on the screen, and there's nothing there, but yet to us it's a very real experience. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big one.
Andrea, how is she approaching this whole process of hers? Is she very fearful? Is she
Not at all.
she
She's incredibly
yeah,
amazing. She's one of the
beautiful?
most positive people that I know. Like she's absolutely a warrior. Um, she, she's always very positive. She's got so much positive light about her. Which I think makes such a big difference. I guess, yeah, like, and she's been dealing with it for some time. I mean, it happened a couple of years ago, and then she was clear, and then in the last probably about 8 months, like it's just kind of come back more aggressively.
Wow.
So she was in hospital in December, and I guess just seeing her go through the process is really hard, because she obviously has gone through the chemo, and she had breast cancer initially, and now it's actually they found tumors in her small intestine, so it's really been quite difficult because she's had to obviously have a feeding tube, and you know what I mean, like she's lost, like this time round it's now I think the third time now that she's in hospital. They've been waiting for other medication and stuff for her. But my sister saw her on Wednesday, and she said that she got quite a shock because she's obviously lost a lot of weight and she's got very little energy. Like she's getting like 700 calories a day, which is like, you can't really, have much energy based on, that. So, yeah, so I'm going to see her this afternoon. I mean, I'd obviously just put it out there to say, are you cool to get visitors? Because she obviously gets quite tired. And she messaged me this morning and she was like, she'd love me to come around, if I can. And I said, of course. So yeah, like I think she'll be fine. She's very positive and I'm very positive, but I guess it's just so scary to see somebody having to go through something like that, and I guess you're right, it does make you question not so much my own morality. It's not so much about that, but I guess it just makes me very grateful, for what I have, like if I can go for a run, then I'm like, like don't moan about being tired, because that's just so like, that's just like in proportion, that's like so like ridiculous, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got to be again, yeah, it makes us feel so grateful for what we have.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you're a blessing to her, and I'm sure you'll find skillful ways to ease her mind and ease her situation, even if you just do like a little meditation with her or something,
Mm.
Yeah. So the six perfections, the perfection of generosity, the best thing we can do for our friends is to try and help them with a spiritual understanding, the gift of the Dharma. If we can help them to understand, if we do believe in karma and we really have this conviction that karma, exists, it's real, then that's the only way we can help people truly out of their suffering. Money's good, protection, from fear and harm, Valentine's gift, love, etc. All of these things, beautiful. But the most powerful thing is to teach them about how to sow the right seeds so that we live in a world with no more cancer one day. And it's a very difficult concept to understand, but according to the Dharma, there are beings that don't know what cancer is. There are beings that don't know what death is. There are beings that just live incredibly blissful, eternal lives that have no idea about these sufferings. And they do understand that there are these sufferings, but they don't experience them. And when they do think about the sufferings of others, they have this immense bliss, compassion, like they are overcome with blissful compassion, I mean, that's kind of where I'd love to get, where we don't feel weighed down, bogged down, sad, broken, that we feel motivated and inspired to do what we can to help, and it's a blissful feeling. And that is our birthright. That is what we need to claim and get out of the samsara place. So the way to do that is through the perfections, the six perfections of the Bodhisattva: perfection of giving, perfection of morality, which is to keep your kindness, to not kill, steal, hurt others sexually, lie, speak badly of others, gossip, slander, to give up on jealousy, to give up on anger and ill will, and then on ignorant thinking, So those are the 10. The 10 positive ones is to protect life as much as we can. So, Andrea, for your friend, you might maybe donate something to the SPCA, or you might go for a run, because you're protecting your body, you're making yourself stronger, and dedicate that goodness to her, right? To say, I ran this morning, and I'm dedicating my run to my friend. I'm going to eat that salad for lunch, and I'm going to dedicate looking after me for her wellness. I'm going to help someone with their health, and I'm going to dedicate that to my friend's healing. And that's how you can influence her healing. Can you actually heal her? No. But yes, this is the strange thing about Tonglen. You can't heal her, but you can heal her because she's your projection. Does that make sense? Sounds like a contradiction. She is part of your projection, and you are seeing her suffer, and that's a negative karma ripening for you. If you want to see her heal, then you need to plant the seeds by protecting life, by the gift of morality, the perfection of morality, by doing the right things, like the 10 Commandments, or the yamas, or the niyamas, the ethical code. And then you do those things, and then you say, I'm going to dedicate this to her. So that's the perfection of morality. And then I guess the perfection of patience is the next one, which is so the morality is that bonsai. And then the patience is the log in the little pond. And the patience is to understand, like, to just be patient with this process, to not get upset about it, to not let it get you down, and also not to get like angry, right? Perfection of patience is really not to get angry. It's to be non-reactive as much as we can, because the sort of impatient attitude is going to cause negative karma. So it's just like, you know what, I just have to be patient with what's happening, and it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah. I just have to let someone in.
Mark,
Sorry. Yes. Yes. Sorry. Sorry, guys.
can I just share something? My mum died of a terminal illness, but she also devoted more than 20 years of her life as a charity. What do you call it when you do work for free at a hospice? Twice a week.
Amazing.
And I never really understood this until she had died already, that she was actually a death doula.
Wow.
But we never spoke about it in that sense. But what she did share often was how it hurt her to see how family, direct family usually, help people back from dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they so wanted the person not to die that the pressure on that poor person to stay alive is just so huge.
That's a powerful point.
You know, and as a real friend and a real, like, if we can understand that sometimes the gift that we give to that person is to walk them to the other side, if they have made peace with their death, and that is where they're going, that it is more powerful for us to beam them with light and to beam their path towards that place, and to accept that it might not be what we want, but that is where they're going, and that can bring them so much healing too.
Absolutely.
Because the path to death, I think, can be a really, really lonely one, because so many people want to pull you back to this side. Sure. And what you really need in that time is actually people to walk with torches with you.
Yeah.
The scary, scary path, because death apparently is scary for everybody when they know they're going to die tomorrow, or in 10 days, or in 6 months. That's apparently when it really sets in, because we are programmed with that. So until we don't know when we're going to die, many of us are not afraid of dying. But as soon as you are actually confronted with your immortality, that's when that death fear really, really, really can kick in. And so so I would almost say, and this is not to tell you what to do, Andrea, because you've got your own processing going on. But if she wants to live, then that's the category where you put her in. That's the path. You walk this way with her towards healing. But if her choice is that she's made peace with it, and this is the road she's walking, as heartbreaking as it is, that is what she really, really needs. And that's probably going to bring in a lot of because we don't want to let go of people, but it is the biggest gift. And if you can get to that point, your grief afterwards will be so much easier to and your process with her, walking with her on the spot.
Yeah, absolutely, Antoinette. So powerful.
Yeah.
Just make her feel like it's okay. And I mean, as Antoinette says, the pressure for everybody clinging and attachment is causing so much more grief. And just to let her know it's okay to let go, you know. I think that's such a powerful thing. So, ladies, I have to finish this class. Let's dedicate the goodness of this karma to healing Andrea's friend and the eradication of all illness in the world, right? Okay. Kewadi kewokun tsunami eshe zozo shin tsunami eshe lejonwe tampa konia toba shok. Okay, awesome conversation. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining today. We didn't get through much of the room, but it's great. I love to talk about these real life things and how this understanding applies to them. And I think everybody just offered such wonderful contributions. So thank you so much. Take care, ladies. Beautiful.
Thanks, Mark. Good luck, Andrea.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Kerry.
Antoinette. Bye, Kerry.
Thanks, Kerry, for saving the dog. I
Oh.
think I got the story right.
Such a story.
Have a beautiful weekend.
You too.